Uh-oh, we have a case guest knife extravaganza coming up on the Apostle P channel. Stay tuned, guys. Let's talk about them. Hi gang, Rob here. It's the evening of 24 April 2014. Yeah, I do. I have a couple of guest blades, both from the same owner. This is my YouTube subscriber, Tyler. And he sort of heard that I was getting into a traditional knife series coming up. And he's a bit of a case knife collector. And he sent a couple really cool examples for us just to take a look at tonight. We're not sharpening these. He was just kind enough to let us have them for a week or two, so you guys could see them, and if you're interested in them, kind of find out a little bit about them. What we've got here on the right is a Bermuda green jigged bone pocket worn Mini Copperlock, and over here on the left, a very, very interesting knife. It is the Seahorse model. In blue jigged bone handles. And I want to kind of save this one for last. I'm going to set it off to the side because I had not seen this pattern before, and we'll probably talk about it a little bit. The Mini Copperlock is a really popular knife. It is a really sort of standard. It's sort of like a half canoe. The Copperlock pattern gives you this sort of choiled bolster at the pivot end of the knife. All Copperlock pattern knives have that, and it also affords sort of a forward grip, as most traditionals do. It looks like a traditional slip joint folder, nice clip point blade, but it's not a slip joint. It's a lockback, or a midlock in this case. This clip point blade with a long pole, and this is a stainless steel knife. Case is True Sharp, or 420 HC. This blade, I'm going to guess it's a tick over 3 inches long. Why don't we get the tape measure out and take a look. Let's just take a peek. It'd help if I'd open the knife, wouldn't it, guys? Yeah. Okay. We'll sort of do this the cheap and dirty way. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 2 11/16 inches long in blade length. Just a great little pocket size knife. And they do call this the pocket worn finish. So this is a series of jigged bone handled case knives, and if you notice, the jigging is very rounded. These knives are supposed to emulate, as the name implies, a knife that's been carried for years and years and years in the pocket. They're very smooth. They slip in and out of the pocket so easily. Just a gorgeous clip blade. I'm going to wipe it off so you guys can get a little better look at it. Pretty good polish on this knife, and guys, there's almost a point, which I think is pretty rare for most case knives. Nice polish. Sharpening job's a little interesting, isn't it? From the factory, it looks like, although there is a sharpening notch, a lot of it's gone. See if I can get the light right. There you go. And we've got a nice sort of recurve going on here. Looks like the sharpener got a little aggressive there at the base of the blade. It's not necessarily a bad thing, though. Got a very nice thin blade. I got a real toothy edge, but it feels kind of like a burry toothy edge. In hand, that very economical blade to handle ratio, because the handle is just tiny. What a great little sort of office knife. Good letter opener. Knife box opener, huh? Now let's take a look. Some fit and finish issues. As you might expect with the Pocket Worn series of knives, very smooth transitions. These knives are really sanded, smoothed, and polished very well. I mean, I can't feel anything anywhere. Even in the open position, the lock bar is almost dead flush. Let's see how it is closed. Might be a little more proud in the closed position, but really nice. Got that nice little nickel silver shield, the script case logo, nickel silver bolsters, brass liners, brass pins. Great contrast on that knife, isn't there, between colors? I think with that green bone, the brass pins and liners, it brings out the copper content in that nickel silver really well. Just a very cool looking little knife. Let's look at our centering. Oops. Not bad. I mean, not that good, sorry. Here's what I do like about this mechanism though. And you know, Great Eastern Cutlery has been coming out with some lockbacks of late. A lot of number 48 variants have been out here in the last couple months, and that's a larger knife, I'll grant you, but lots of complaints about up and down blade play in that knife. And here's a pinned construction traditional lockback, and guys, there's no play in any direction. So, you know, make no mistake, you know, Great Eastern Cutlery might be making a little higher quality knife than Case is these days. However, Case still builds a heck of a traditional knife. You know, what are these knives? 40 bucks? Beautiful, beautiful knife for the money. And now I want to talk about this guy. I had never seen one of these, and man is it cool. I mean, man is it cool. Sorry to redirect my light a little. Wow. This is sort of a Serpentine Whittler pattern. And Serpentine, of course, refers to the fact that the handle has this sort of smooth S-curve. I would call this more of a serpentine than I would a dogleg. I think doglegs in my eye have a little tighter kink in the middle than a serpentine pattern would. Got that same nickel silver shield with the Case script logo. Again, nickel silver bolsters, brass pins, brass liners. Now, what makes it a Whittler? That's an interesting old knife pattern term, and if a Whittler is truly a Whittler, here's what you have. I want you to look at this is the main blade. In this case, a very robust Wharncliffe. Look at how thick that stock is. Look at all that distal taper coming to a needle-like tip. Boy, I'd like to get one of these on the sharpening bench. Ground nice and thin at the edge, but what do you think that thick stock tells us about the knife? Remember, I have two blades over here, one on this end. Look, you picking that up closely? The main blade uses both back springs. So the other end of the back springs that individually run the secondary blades are used in unison to run the main blade. So it gives you a really robust walk and talk and spring action on the main blade for heavy use. And then when we come down to the other end, this dainty little pen blade and coping blade, sort of the whittling business end of the knife, has more appropriately light back spring action. Very cool, huh? And then it all comes together in sort of a Congress fashion, meaning there is no liner separating those three blades. And let's see, when we have that condition, if you don't do a Congress construction correctly, you end up with some rubbing, and it looks like we got a little. You know, it's very hard to get around that. You have these three blades sort of packed in there, And then when you use the nail neck to extract one of the smaller blades, it's very hard, impossible even, to keep from pushing it over into that tip of the main blade as you're getting the blade out. But they move a little and you get that. I don't really have blade play. Let's see. Well, everything's nice and tight. Let's see about the main blade. I really love that big old warny blade. Look at that thing, man. You think that thing will do a little work? I'd say yeah. And no blade play there. That is just rock solid. Look at that thing. That just begs to be worked, doesn't it? Very cool. And let's see. Let's see if I can get that to not reflare. We got. How straight is that? Pretty darn good. Get a little sloppy at the tip. And you guys know me, if I'm going to have a Wharncliffe blade, it's got to have a straight edge or it just bothers me. Can't even go to sleep at night. You hear that? One All's Pub. John and I, One All's Pub, we talk quite a bit, text quite a bit, and we both enable each other's form of obsessive compulsive disorder. You know what mine are: plunge grinds, sharpening notches, and edges. Let's see, John's are blade play, and blade play. Actions and blade play. Those are John's OCD isms. And he gets a little crazy about finishes too. You know, the nature of stone washes and sandblasting. But what a cool little knife, huh, guys? Bring that up so we can get a close look at it as we head out here. Again, really, really good transitions on this guy. GEC could definitely take a page out of Case's book when it comes to transitioning from cover to bolster. Very well made little knife. Just thought you guys would like to see those. Thank you so much, Tyler, for sending them up here and letting me spend a little time with them. Sorry it took me so long to get them in front of the camera. But it's been kind of busy lately. That's all for tonight. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Have a good night.